straight. Would trace it back to a fact that I was in, yeah. It's all on me was stay outside the gate and they let me in. Last time I saw you, you was in the middle jumping up, having a time. I could see you winding up that waist from miles away. On our truck singing a song, you know every line to it. And I ain't hear you when you call. Hey, I may not remember your name, but trust me, I know the face. I know the face. Hey, I may not remember your name, but trust me, I know the face. I know the face. Hey. I know the face. You look familiar, but your name just slipped me. Yeah, your name just slipped me. I just can't remember at all. Don't make no difference once you're right here with me. Just stay right here with me. Let this moment sink in your heart. I may not remember your name, but trust me, I know the face. I know the face. Eh, I may not remember your name, but trust me, I know the face. I know the face. I know the face.
'cause nobody's perfect. Oh yeah, nobody's perfect.
This is the Nigeria Sax Prince. They call me Festo Sax. Accept me.
With the vibes.
Festo Sax.
sax.
Make sense, not the ganga.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Please stand for the arrival of the Governor General of Saint Lucia, Acting Governor General, His Excellency Errol Charles. Ça nous debout pour Gouverneur Général pour le moment, Excellence Errol Charles. I ask that you please remain standing for the national anthem of Saint Lucia, Chanson nationale de Saint Lucia. You may be seated. Gouverneur Général pour le moment, Acting Governor General of Saint Lucia, His Excellency Errol Charles, Gouverneur Général Emerita, Governor General Emerita, Her Excellency Dame Paulette Louisi, Premier Ministre Saint Lucia, Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, the Honorable Philip G. Pierre, Premier Ministre, Deputy pour Saint Lucia, et puis Ministre pour Kilti, Deputy Prime Minister of Saint Lucia and Minister for Culture, the Honorable Ernest Hilaire, Ministre qui a responsabilité pour le gouvernement local et puis bâtiment CAI, the Honorable Richard Frederick, Minister for Housing and Local Government, Ambassador pour les Chine, Taiwan, Ambassador for Taiwan, His Excellency Peter Chen, Deputy Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Culture, Travailleur Ministre de Kilti, Mr. Calvin Lee, Director Executive pour Fondation pour Développement Kilti, Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation, Mrs. Ramona Henry Wynn, Chairman pour CDF, Darwin Gard, Chairman of CDF, Mr. Darwin Gard, l'autre officier pour National Housing and Planning Corporation, NHC, Artistes pour Emancipasyon, Emancipation Artists, Naja Simeon, Alwyn St. Omer, Mum Media, members of the media, Josette Nisi, Saint Lucians, here and viewing via our live stream. Et puis l'autre monde qui kave programme nous jodia, bienvenue. Welcome everyone to this special Emancipation Unveiling of Murals. Jodia nous ka développer des hymnes pour Emancipasyon qui fait par artistes Naja Simeon and Alwyn St. Omer. This moment is quite a significant one when we think of the role of emancipation in the lives of Caribbean people, especially Saint Lucians, and that art plays a role in decolonization. If we look around our Caribbean, we have some very seminal pieces of art, from Busser's statue to the Negmawa statue and the Mamadlo in Grenada. And today Saint Lucia joins in ensuring that our art represents the vision that we have for our Saint Lucia, and we continue the role of decolonization. To assist us today in doing so, as your mistress of ceremony, I am proud to welcome at this point in time to deliver brief remarks to you, Mrs. Ramona Henry-Wynn, Executive Director of the Cultural Development Foundation.
A warm and pleasant good morning to everyone. Protocol has already been established, but let me recognize the presence of His Excellency Governor General Errol Charles, Honorable Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre, Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire, Minister of Culture, Honorable Richard Frederick, Minister of Housing and Local Government, Her Excellency Dame Paulette Louisi, Governor General Emeritus, His Excellency Peter Chen and Mrs. Chen. Welcome everyone. Today is really not a day for us to do a lot of talking, but to celebrate art. And for me, just standing in this area brings a feeling of nostalgia. And I think it is one that Alwyn St. Omer can identify with. Growing up in the CDC area, running around in the days when the Skits, the Clarks, the St. Thomas, the Auges, the Francises, you know, played in the CDC area where everybody was carefree. You know, it just brings back so many memories to me today. And just standing here to me is testimony that our city is worth what it is that we are doing here today. We always say that art ignites change. There is something deeply catalytic about the work. Public art also provides economic benefits, including new jobs, fosters youth development through apprenticeship programs, and increases tourism. Never mind you hear people say we prostitute our culture for tourism, but they are both hand in glove. They go hand in hand. Murals are prodigious for artistic placemaking and city marketing. In recent times, art-focused busts and walking tours have become popular in many cities, and St. Lucia should be no exception. One of the fundamental effects of public art is that it creates community fingerprints, that is, spaces that make people feel represented, foster community ties, and give people a sense of ownership and belonging. And this is emancipation through art. All of this is embellished in CDF's brand promise of culture, creativity, community. The mural project gives evidence of the many ways that CDF facilitates and represents the real purveyors of St. Lucian art and culture in taking their place in chronicling the story of our country. CDF has partnered with those who have the ability and the imagination to capture our stories in a tableau that transcends words. While the murals enhance the look and beautification of the city, they also serve as living testament of the past and a source of inspiration, purpose, and pride for our people. CDF will solidify this further by our recently branded Art on the City that was launched for the Jazz and Arts Festival. The aim is to make incremental investments in that brand, resource permitting, and I know our minister will ensure that the resources permit. Just as the murals ensure a sustained visual representation of all that makes us Saint Lucian, CDF will be looking to continue building this inventory of art and interpretation that we can be proud of and that we can share with the world. I thank you for being here and look forward to the masterpiece that will soon be unveiled. I thank you.
Merci à pile, Mrs. Wynne. Thank you very much, Mrs. Wynne. Let me officially introduce myself as your mistress of ceremony. My name is Raisa Joseph, and I am the executive director of the Monsignor Patrick Anthony Folk Research Center. Non, moi c'est Raisa Joseph, et moi c'est directeur Place Recherche Folklore. It's an honor for us to be here today and celebrate this moment once again, and to really continue the role of development in our country. In 1945, the Colonial Development Complex was funded through a special welfare fund. And today we continue to transform not just the imagery, but the experience of what people actually see. And it's only fitting that at this time we have the parliamentary representative and minister responsible for local government and housing in Saint Lucia to deliver his own remarks. Please help me in welcoming the Honorable Richard Frederick.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremonies. I crave your indulgence to accept that protocol has already been established, but notwithstanding, I want to recognize the Honorable Prime Minister, Philip Joseph Pierre, his deputy, Dr. Ernest Hilaire, and my cabinet colleagues. Ambassador of Taiwan, Mr. Peter Chen, I must always acknowledge you because you, the people of Taiwan, are doing good things for the people of St. Lucia. Give the Taiwanese a round of applause to me, please. Folks, when I was first approached about causing the relevant agencies to agree with the idea of painting those murals, a meeting was immediately convened with the relevant stakeholders, including the National Housing Corporation and the Castries Constituency Council. There is no way we could have left that meeting without consensus. That is, we needed to agree that this unveiling will happen today. This exercise, ladies and gentlemen, will fall squarely within the intentions of this government. That is the beautification of our city. We had no choice but to agree because I am of the view that any truly patriotic St. Lucian ought not to stand in the way of or criticize progress. When persons tell you that they love their country, they love St. Lucia, but yet they deliberately take to the airwaves, they take to social media or other fora of information dissemination, criticizing what is obviously a progressive move, beneficial to the country and its citizens, they do not love their country. They can be labeled, and I dare say, enemies of the state. If you love your country, you ought to love the progress that it makes. Most of you may know by now that today, the unveiling of this mural marks a continuation of our emancipation celebration. And sadly, every time I mention the word emancipation, our history strikes immediately to the forefront of my mind. our trials and tribulations, our struggles for freedom which we take for granted today, our ancestors being regarded as assets, our ancestors being regarded as property owned by others because they had less melanin in their skin. We found ourselves, our ancestors that is, from a standpoint of heritage, in an extremely disadvantageous position. These, my friends, are extremely serious thoughts that must assail your mind from time to time to know where you came from and where you are going. Today, we are all proud to be called Saint Lucians. Those murals depict some of our natural attributes, such as the majestic pitons. But this is not all we have. This is not all we have to be happy about. We are a country, the only country in the world with the world's only drive-in volcano. We have the most Nobel laureates per capita in the world. We were fought over 14 times. Saint Lucia has a distinct history. So whilst other countries in the world fight for all sorts of other titles, these three, only drive-in volcano, the change of hands 14 times, and most Nobel laureates per capita, will remain with us for at least the next 1,000 years. Folks, I am indeed elated today. I drive in major cities in the world, and you will see some really, really nice paintings, some nice murals that brings out color and brings out life. Castries City will not be left out. And that is why not too long ago, my team and I we embarked upon the painting of the St. Lucian parrot on the wall of the Marian home, which is quite visible as you drive or walk on Waterworks Road. We are continuing in that vein. So it is in this regard, I want to call on the business places, our corporate partners to rally with us in our quest for city beautification. Sponsor a wall or two, or an entire building if you can. But my team and I will stand ready to rally with you to lend an ear in ensuring that we take this exercise a little further. As we continue to enjoy our freedom brought through emancipation, might I ask you to guard that freedom cautiously. When you exercise a fundamental right or freedom, do so with the remembrance of what our ancestors had to undergo for you to enjoy it today. Don't take it for granted. Let us live in peace and unity. Let harmony remain in our mind, in our midst, and let us all be each other's keeper. God bless you. God bless Saint Lucia.
Thank you very much, Honorable Richard Frederick, for these words that encapsulate the importance of community support on various levels to make initiatives such as these possible. Qui ça désire sans musique? At this time, we will listen to a musical interlude by none other than the illustrious Royal St. Lucia Police Band, who will play for us I Am a West Indian by St. Lucian Soca King, Arthur Ali.
Yeah. Whoa, yeah. I am a West Indian, yeah. That's who I am. Sounds so sweet, it's the way I feel it. I jump in a band, we get to understand. I am a West Indian, no matter Hands up if you are Western girl. Hands up everybody up in the air. Hands up young people everywhere. Hands up raise your flag up in the air. If you are Western girl.
Can we put our hands together for that beautiful rendition? Thank you very much, the Royal Saint Lucia Police Band. At this time, I want to recognize in our midst other members of our community who've come out to support and to recognize this important moment. Their Excellencies, Laif Escalona, Ambassador for Venezuela to Saint Lucia, Lili Ching Soto, OAS Ambassador, Gibeon Ferdinand, Honorable Official in the Ministry of Culture. We welcome you. Art is in fact the wealth of a nation. Ça travaille artiste, nous pauvres qu'en nation. It was Sir Arthur Lewis who said that a culture without the arts is like a barren desert. And today we know that our society is richer because of the work of our artists. It is my pleasure at this time to bring light to some of the more important persons in our midst. All of you are important, but without the work of the artists who created this beautiful mural, we would not be here today. And for that reason, it's my pleasure to welcome, to give their brief remarks, Mr. Naja Simeon, who will be followed by Mr. Olwen St. Omer. A rounding round of applause for these artists.
Sun came out. The sun came out just for me, yeah? Thank you, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank the CDF for setting this in motion. Although I've been painting murals for many years around the island, this one is by far one of the, one of the best projects I've done. So, thank the CDF. Let's thank you to all the people of Castries, everyone who came out to support, Kim, Auntie Abby, everyone who just, helped me carry stuff and set up scaffolding and carried water and everything else. I would like to thank you. The murals, as you see here, are just part of a series of murals I've been doing around the island. But this one is really important to me as it represents not just our past in the plantations and what we came from, but the revolution that happened and is still happening, and also the celebration that we are continuing to do every year for emancipation. But, as you know, I painted this side of the wall, and a lot of people are asking, you know, what is that? I have kind of left it to your interpretation, so maybe on the unveiling, you really have a closer look, and I can explain to you a little more what it is. But I would just like to say thank you to everyone who made this happen. And I know I left out some names. Thanks to my artists, Tia, Christopher, Afali Williams, some young and upcoming artists. Thank you to Gary Budd for collaborating on this, my family for supporting me, and everyone in the city who encouraged me in the hot sun while we were working. Thank you.
And he said, big up Kim as well off camera. Thank you, Naja, for allowing us to see the community that helped create the art alongside you and for the support that was necessary. I now welcome prolific artist, Mr. Alwyn St. Omer, to share with you his thoughts and experiences. Please give him a round of applause.
Well, when I was first approached by Drainier for this project, I thought, wow. I had written a proposal for something like this about 10 years ago, and nothing has happened. And when Drainier called me, said, Alwyn, we're doing painting the CDC buildings. I thought, wow. I wanted to paint every building in Castries, red, yellow, green, purple, all kind of colors. And now, this was just the beginning, the catalyst to something to come. I've long been an advocate for the arts, being from an artistic family. And what I want everyone to know is that every child is an artist. Every child is an artist. But society restricts that child through our type of education system and whatnot. And ironically, when we get into the working world, we ask to think out of the box. So maybe this is just the beginning. And I guess successive administrations and the policymakers can't really see the value of aesthetics. So maybe this is a new beginning. When I was asked to do this mural, I was already working on a series for an exhibition in the UK. So my major series is based on the Masquerade. And the Masquerade, I discovered, because I'm a Castries boy from the CDC, I was brought up in the CDC. And I was always mesmerized by that street theater at Christmas. And later on in life, when I started painting them and found out the truth behind the Masquerade, I discovered that when the plantation owners allowed the slaves any form of gaiety from the misery, they would put on the mask as a link to Africa, as a cure for that pain they had in their hearts, unknown to the plantation owner in the house who thought a happy slave was a good slave. So this fit in with this whole emancipation thing and what I was already doing for my exhibition in the UK. So I must go back to Drainier. I think Drainier is a hero, and I think we need to say thank you, Drainier. Thank you, Drainier, because I think we need to keep Drainier at the head of all artistic activities in Saint Lucia. Let her make it happen. Drainier, you're doing a fantastic job at the CDF, and thank you. And this is an opening. I'm very excited because it's actually happening. And my mural, when it is unveiled, you will see a history. We even have my team of artists include my brother Luigi and Sabrina and Purcell Pamphile and a number of people, including Snaddy and whatnot. But I must thank the team I work with, for the passion they worked with in putting this painting together. When the painting is eventually unveiled, you will see as an ex-slave exhaling and burning the ships as they come on the horizon because she's not sure if colonialism will return. So, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the mural. Thank you very much. As Arthur Lewis said, a country without the arts is a cultural desert. So maybe this is just the beginning. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saint Omer, for that poignant reminder of art as resistance. Nous savons, ce désir, nous pas à résister, and we know that our African traditions have kept us alive, and resistance is not just with a gun, but also with art. It is my pleasure at this time to welcome the Vidbouteille drummers and Silver Shadow dancers who will give us a special performance today. please keep your applause going for that wonderful performance. No tantabu, no wear masquerade. And it is so beautiful that we can experience living art and the movable art, which is now adorning both sides of the CDC buildings in a magnificent way. Activities today, initiatives for emancipation are important, and the vision behind them come from our government leaders. Vision pour Emancipasyon bien important, et puis actuellement ça là nous kaiton a ti parole hord ministre pour kilti. At this time we welcome the Minister of Culture, the Honorable Ernest Hilaire, to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Mistress of Ceremony. With protocol already been established, permit me to recognize the Acting Governor General, Errol Charles, the Prime Minister, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, and my colleague, Minister, Parliamentary Representative for Castries Central, Honorable Richard Frederick, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Culture and Creative Industries, and other distinguished invitees. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to start, bonjour. I want to start by, first of all, recognizing the two artists that worked on those two masterful pieces. I, of course, am very familiar with Alwyn St. Omer from a very distinguished family, and I am one of his fans. I actually own a piece of his art, and I'd encourage all of you here who've not yet obtained one of his paintings to please do so, because I think his expressions are very intrinsically Saint Lucian and really see who we are in a very vivid way. Of course, the other artist, I'm not very familiar with him, but I want to tell him that I'm one of his fans. I certainly have seen many of his murals, and I'm certainly looking forward if someday he'll do a piece for me so I can add to my own collection. I'm very happy this morning, and I want to share with you, and I ask you to just bear with me for a few minutes. I really got to be a lover of what is street art. Many years ago, as a doctoral student in London, I taught at a university, Metropolitan University of London, and I got off at a tube station, Liverpool Street Station, and walked through Shoreditch to get to the university. And those of you who know London knows that street art is really based in East London, the Shoreditch area, Liverpool Street area, and that thing. And as I walked to the university, I kept seeing those pieces of art on the buildings and all over. And then I found out that there was actually a walking tour of the area for street art. And one Saturday, I did the tour, and I completely fell in love with street art. And every city I've been to since then, I find out what are the expressions of street art they have, and for me to be able to visit those areas where they do have street art. And I've been to many cities, and I can tell you, I've seen many expressions of street art all over the world, and of course I started following and started my own collection. So those of you who know me personally, you will see when you do come to my house, the collection that I have of street art. So it really means a lot to me as a person, as an individual. When I became minister, and I got my instructions from the Prime Minister, he was very clear from the time we were preparing our manifesto that we had to include in that manifesto the emphasis we would place on expressions like this. We made sure we include it in our manifesto because it means a lot to us. It means a lot to us to allow St. Lucians to be able to express their St. Lucianness. It means a lot to us for our people to be able to say how they feel through art. And therefore, we made it a priority. When the government changed in July 2021, the Prime Minister a few days later had to address St. Lucia on the occasion of Emancipation Day. And he said this was going to be the last year that we were going to celebrate emancipation in the manner in which we did. And he told me, as of the following year, do it differently. And as we prepared for the following year, I was reminded by the Prime Minister that we had to make Castries and other communities in Saint Lucia alive with art. Made it very clear. That had to be done. And of course, my response to him was, where's the money? Because we did not have any serious enough allocation to do so. And he said to me, go ahead and get it done. If you need more money, I will find it. And last year, I begged the CDF for us to have done exactly this, to have street art as part of the Emancipation program. And Drina did, and she will tell you, prepared a program which included it. But we did not do it last year. And again, we insisted that this year it must be done. I'm glad it's done in Castries Central, and I'll tell you why. Because Honorable Frederick decided he was not going to wait for us anymore. And he commissioned a piece on the Marian Holmes wall. If you go there now, you will see a piece of some parrots that he did. And he came to cabinet and he asked me to reimburse him his money. Because we did not do what we had promised to do for emancipation, well, what we had done, and that he wanted his money back. We're still waiting for it. Just about 3 weeks ago, and the Prime Minister will tell you, he came to cabinet showing off pictures of a wall that he's just done over by the Methodist school, and asked me to make sure I find money for him to put some art pieces on that wall. Again, I promise him, and I'm sure he'll be waiting for a long while to get the money, because I know he'll find the money himself to put his pieces on that wall. But I'm saying all of that to tell you that as a government, we are committed to those expressions. I heard Alwyn speak about 10 years ago, he had a proposal to do so. Well, if 10 years ago we were in government, it would have been done. I can say that to you. Because for us, it is a very serious aspect of our national identity to support those expressions. But I want to also ask you to reflect on this. An experience I had in London, in one of the tours, I noted a beautiful piece had someone came and painted over it, or parts of it, with their own expression. And I asked the artist who was there, he was a Brazilian artist, how does he feel about that? Because I thought what he had was a masterpiece, and there's somebody painted over part of it. And I asked him, are you going to paint it over? And he said to me, no. Art must be free. The people must express themselves. So even he painted what he thought was a masterpiece. Another artist, quote unquote, I won't tell you what was painted, came and wrote and painted over it. And he felt that's okay. I have put my piece, somebody else has come and put their own piece, and somebody else will come and cover it. And for me, that was a little challenging. Because can you imagine this beautiful piece, somebody coming and spray something over it? It might be a parrot, it might be a fish, but it might be something derogatory. How do we feel then? Do we feel offended if somebody should come and paint over something on these pieces? Should we make it choreographed and well managed and look so pretty and beautiful and not an evolving expression of people? All those questions we must ask. Because if we say art must be free, the expressions of people must be unbridled, should we then control what is expressed and how it is expressed? Where are the limits? And I think we are new to this, but we will have some challenging months and years ahead, because government will make more monies available for more artists to put more art in public spaces. And when we start doing that, some questions will arise. What is acceptable? What is not acceptable? And I'm actually saying that in the context of, you would all recall, for Carnival, there's a very famous wall, one of the most famous walls in the world, opposite the comprehensive school. Remember that wall? We decided this year to paint it and to have some, expressions on it. And people felt we were using colors that were unacceptable. I disagreed. I thought those colors are Carnival colors. But even if they were not, is it acceptable to do so? Should we exclude certain expressions? Should we allow for the free expression of the people in whatever they want to say? So these are questions we will have to face in the months and years to come. I hope the CDF can provide very clear guidance on it. I know as minister, I will certainly share my own thoughts on it, and I know the thoughts of the Cabinet of Ministers. So this is exciting. We've started a new journey like never before in Saint Lucia. And I hope over the next few months, the next few years, all over Castries, in all the communities. If you go to Monrepo now, in the La Puette area, you will see murals have been painted by the parliamentary rep and his team. Again, expressions of the community. And I know Naja has done in Ancillary. Yeah, it was Ancillary, he did some major works. And we need to continue throughout St. Lucia, throughout the communities. Let's provide walls. Let's provide support for the artists so they can express how they see St. Lucia. We must not ashamed of being St. Lucian. We must not be ashamed of contributing to the shaping of our national identity and who we are as a people. As a government, we encourage you to be part of the national development process, to be part of that expression. And so thank you to everyone who's coming here today. And we will unveil what I believe are masterpieces. And for us to see more of that in St. Lucia, this government remains very supportive of those initiatives. Mr. Sentume did not say it, but maybe he forgot, I can announce it. We're giving tremendous support to him to do a major exhibition in the United Kingdom that, later on this year of St. Lucian art that he has produced. And we'll continue to do so. We don't have unlimited resources, but whatever we have, we'll try to support as much as we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. I was expecting perhaps a geography lesson to come after, because I think it's important to remember and to remind our viewers where we are right now. We're in the city of Castries, Noa Castries, on Jean-Baptiste Street, and on either side, we are flanked by beautiful emancipation murals. Nous ni désigne Imansipasyon à sous côté, à sous droite moi, et puis à gauche moi. And for all of this to be directed, scripted, the hours that you do not see, the vision that you do not see, is produced by individuals who work around the clock. L'année moun ka travaille, l'année nou ka dormi. Et puis, actuellement, salam avle bienvenue, Madame Hod, Fondation pour Développement Kilti Saint Lucia, from the CDF, Miss Junior Frederick, who is the creative director. Il accorde visa fait pour Koyati en Saint Lucia, and she will speak to us, delivering a vote of thanks. Il dit merci pour tout le monde qui fait projet ça là possible.
Good morning. Protocol already established. Let me just say I am no hero, but I am supported by a team of heroes, those persons who make it possible. The Cultural Development Foundation would like to thank the government of St. Lucia for its support for this project. We would like to thank the Emancipation Committee, the management, staff, and board of directors of the Cultural Development Foundation, Castries Constituency Council, Housing Development, Creative Industries, the National Television Network, Events Company of St. Lucia, for this commitment to complete this activity today. And now for the dreamers. Those who understand that art is life, conjure images to allow it to be. Our teams of artists led by Naja Simeon and Alwyn Santoma for their designs and execution. Kim Alexander, Sabrina Romulus, Gary Burt. Without the dreamers cannot exist without the dream catchers. The community of Conway and the residents in the CDC buildings. Thank you. Safe Grounds. All those who lent support to the effort, including Duncan, who had this cherry picker, Renault Construction, Reliable Tool Rental. Now for the believers. If there is a dream, there must be persons who believe in the dream, facilitators of the dream. Thank you to Honorable Philip J. Pierre for allowing emancipation to take precedence. Thank you to Honorable Dr. Ernest Hilaire for your tremendous backing, understanding of the value of this undertaking. Thank you. Thank you to Honorable Richard Frederick for your support and agreeing to this. Thank you very much. We have to thank the dreamers, the dream catchers, and the believers. At this time, I would like to thank our sponsors, Harris Paints, who sponsored the mural on this side, Sherwin-Williams, other paint sponsors, Paints Plus for the sidewalk, Blue Waters. Special thanks to the Royal Saint Lucia Police Force, the Royal Saint Lucia Police Band, Saint Lucia Fire Service. Last night they were here cleaning the road. Thank you. And I got to sit in the fire engine. Bank of Saint Lucia, Vidbutai drummers, our young drummers, Silver Shadow Dance Academy, our Mistress of Ceremonies, Raisa Joseph, and finally, our invited guests. Thank you for coming, members of the Diplomatic Corps, His Excellency Acting Governor General. Thank you for being here for this unveiling. This is the first step in changing the vision of ourselves as a people, making our dreams a reality, bridging consciousness and courage to create positive change. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you very much, Ms. Junior Frederick. A round of applause for her. And I think we have to thank God for the cloud cover at this time so that we were not scorched today. At this time, I know we have all been waiting for the official unveiling, and to assist us, I now ask Prime Minister of Saint Lucia, the Honorable Philip J. Pierre, the Honorable Minister of Culture, Ernest Hilaire, and the Honorable Richard Frederick to stand as we now have the official unveiling of our Emancipation Murals. Nous kay dévoiler des Imansipasyon Saint Lucia par Premier ministre Saint Lucia, Honorable Philippe J. Pierre, ministre pour Culture, Honorable Ernest Hilaire, puis ministre qui a responsabilité pour Batman Kai et gouvernement local, Honorable Richard Frederick.
shot. Yanni gonna make that for me, DJ. Yanni gonna make that for me, yeah, that should be.
Wait, is it? One more track for you. The boss there.